bounce out from this sequence and put it onto a clip. Basically, that's it. Let's listen. Hey guys, welcome to this video. So today we're going to see how we can export the sequences into the clip program so we can play around with it, okay? Now I have 3 sequences. They all have the same drum loop. The only thing that's different between them, it's the way I play the samples. Now you could use MIDI drag and drop from the software to achieve the same thing, but I'm going to use bounce to sample, and you can do it on a sequence. Okay, you bounce the whole sequence. You can do it from a track, so you bounce the whole track, or you can do it from a program. It bounces everything that's inside the sequence from that program. So you have these 3 ways of bouncing the sample. So these are my sequences, and this other one as well. Okay, so I'm gonna bounce the drums first, and the way I have my sequence set up, I have on track 2 I have hi-hats with a program for the hi-hats, track 3 a program for the snares, and track 4 a program for the kicks. Now what I'm gonna do is gonna go to the mute track and just mute the tracks that have the samples and just leave the drums playing, okay? Okay, so now we only have the drums playing on the sequence. I can go and touch on the pencil and bounce the entire sequence to a sample. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to export some variations of the drum as well. I'm going to bounce different ideas, and I'm going to play with the track length. I'm going to play with the track length for the kicks as well. Okay. I'm going to shorten the bar, and I'm going to export that idea out as well. So bounce the sample. Okay, just creating variations here with the drums. Okay, I'm playing with the sequence length, the track length to create different rhythms, so we can have some variation when we play on the clip programs. Okay, let's listen. Okay, let's bounce that idea as well. So we have 3 variations now. Okay, now that we have the drums bounced, we're going to bounce the samples. Unmute the tracks for the samples. And let's go for these samples, okay? Because the samples are just set to 1 track, I'm going to just bounce straight from the track, okay? So it's track 1, touch on the pencil, and bounce the sample. That's done. Okay, track sequence 12. Okay, again, track 1, bounce to sample. Done. Track 11, I think I have something there. Track 1. Okay, bounce to sample. And what I'm going to do now is, again, I'm going to create a variation of this track, track 1. I'm going to play with a sequence length as well. 2 beats there. Okay, just creating variations is very good to have those set on the clip program so you can play around with ideas. And now I'm going to go to track 12. I have some sample variations on track 5 and 6. I'm going to export those out as well. Okay, so this is going to come from the sequence because I've muted the other tracks. Okay, all the bounces are completed, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go to track 10 and put them all into one clip program. So you can spend the whole day bouncing out tracks if you want and putting them into clip programs. I do that all the time, just spend some time bouncing out sequences and tracks. So we're in sequence 10, track 1, we have clip program 1, and the only thing we need to do is to put the samples onto the program. So shift menu so we can assign the samples to the pads. Okay, select the pad, select the sample to it. Okay, so just selecting the sample that I want to put into the pad. Okay, once you've assigned all the samples to the pads, you can go ahead and play with the clip. Okay, with that sample that I've just set onto that pad, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to edit the sample, I'm going to trim it, yeah, and if you hear that, it's because the sample is speeding up because the sequence BPM are set to higher than the original. So you need to put the sequence BPM into 80 BPM. This is because the samples get warped automatically once you bounce them out, okay? I'm going to trim this sample. I just want to cut the beginning of the sample right there so it starts with a snare. And again, I just want to create variation so I have more to play with. So those are my variations with the drums. Let's bring in the samples onto the pads. Okay, so let's shift menu. And let's choose the samples and put them onto the pads. And you can leave these samples whatever you want. I'm basically using just 2 rows, one for the drums, another row for the samples. And I have another one at the top right. That's my extra sample. And basically this is it. So we've assigned all the samples that we bounced out to the pads, and now we can just go ahead and play with them. Okay, it's very simple. Again, you can bounce out as many samples as you like and play with those ideas.